Record to the computer. Okay, so team, welcome to today's slide presentation where we are discussing sleep, right? Now, in the first half of this, it's kind of broken up into 3 sections. So give yourself plenty of time to watch this or watch it back, or when you feel like there might be a lot to take in, watch bits and pieces of it and come back to it. Again, I don't expect you to remember all this on your first go, but first thing we'll cover will be sleep hygiene, the basics, the simple facts, what are going to give you the best bang for your buck, how that you can actually improve your sleep by just implementing a couple of little changes. Then I'm going to go through some sleep education around REM sleep, the stages, around hormones, cortisol, and everything else that kind of affects our sleep. We'll get into caffeine, and then we will get into stages of our top 10 tips to cover to get you to sleep better. And, take 1 or 2 of them, implement them, see how you go, see if it's working for you, and so forth. There might be plenty of things here that you might realize that you are doing that are not serving you well to try and help you sleep. So again, we'll cut through a couple of those. And again, any questions you have, please, at any stage, just drop me a message and we can go through it. So first of all, sleep hygiene, the basics of sleep hygiene, and you're probably well aware of what they are, but more often than not, you just don't do them enough. We're all guilty of it. We all know that we should be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. We all know that, we shouldn't have our phone in the bedroom, etc. And there's a couple of other things that you might not be aware of what you could be doing. So for 10 basic sleep hygiene facts that you could be implementing, first one is having a set bedtime routine, waking up and going to bed at the same time, not just 5 out of 7 days of the week, but every day of the week. So basically like good sleep time, maybe 10 o'clock to 6 a.m. Okay, 10 p.m. to 6 p.m., 11 to 6, whatever again suits you. Obviously, everyone has different time constraints, but you've got to focus some energy on improving your sleep. When you start to improve your sleep, you'll start to improve your lifestyle. Trust me on that one, okay? Try to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Why is the 7 to 9 hours kind of thrown around? Well, when we discuss circadian rhythm in a moment, in about 5 minutes, we're talking about 90-minute sleep cycles, okay? It is recommended you actually get 35 sleep cycles in a week. Obviously, you don't want to get them all in one go, but broken up throughout the week, 90 minutes. 90 minutes is one sleep cycle, and it's recommended you get 35 of them, okay? So reduce phone and laptop time 60 minutes before bed. Reduce stress levels by reading, journaling, or even meditating before you go to sleep. Limit exercise 2 hours before you go to sleep. Eat your last meal probably about 1 hour before you go to bed. So it actually gives you time to digest that meal, and you're not going to bed after scoffing the whole dinner at 10 o'clock at night. So, try and make sure that if you are training, that it is well before you go to bed. Put electronics in another room. This has been a major one for me, removing the phone from the bedroom, because every time you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? You pick up the phone, and now all of a sudden you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on all this kind of shit too early in the morning, okay? So keeping the phone out of the room. Try it for a while, try it for one night. The basics is having an alarm clock. If you have an alarm clock, there's no need to actually use the alarm clock or there's no need to use the phone alarm clock so that you can actually get up in the morning. Shower before bed reduces your body temperature. Shutting blinds and blocking out any external light like street lights. If you live in a lovely rural area, you're blessed. I live in a place where cars and all kinds of things come past me here, and you might realize it, but maybe those things are keeping you awake at night, okay? When you wake up, dress your bed, plain and simple, okay? One of I actually seen this again recently. Jay Shetty had said, going on your phone first thing in the morning is like letting 10,000 people into your bedroom before you have had a chance to wake up. Not good, okay? You don't want to be seeing anyone in the morning unless it's your partner, okay? And again, it's too many people going on the phone straight away. News, bad news, there's nothing but bad news all the time. You're never going to see good news when you turn on your phone. I'll put it that way to you. So putting the phone out of the room, getting an alarm clock, okay? So they're just some basic hygiene tips that you can start to implement. Now we're going to roll into some sleep education. So again, some of this you might have heard before, some of it you might have not. Again, go through it, go over it a couple of times and educate yourself. The more you hear it, the more you will learn, okay? And when you do start to understand it and you do start to understand the benefits of why we sleep, then you will start to implement it a bit more. And it's a lot better for me to explain it to you than to tell you, why aren't you sleeping for 7 hours? Why aren't you sleeping for 7.5 hours? Whatever the case may be, okay? So circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm helps control your daily schedule for sleeping. It controls when you go to sleep and when you wake up, basically. So, you know, when your rhythm is tied to a 24-hour body clock. When the sun is setting, that's when your body is going to start releasing melatonin, which we're going to get into, and it's going to start to set you up for a good night's sleep. But too many people are fighting with this clock and not letting the hormones balance themselves out and do what they're meant to do, okay? So your circadian rhythm is influenced by outside things like light and darkness, as well as other factors, your brain receiving signals based on your environment and your activities. And again, it's the certain hormones, like I said, with melatonin being released. If cortisol, which is your stress hormone, is increased, then that trumps melatonin. And that's something that we will discuss later on. Okay. Your circadian rhythm also, it alters the body temperature and your metabolism to keep you alert and draw you to sleep. Some may experience disruption to the circadian rhythm because of external factors, okay, or sleep disorders. So if you sleep with someone that is a chronic snorer, that is going to keep you awake. That is going to keep you awake at night. If you decide to let your dog sleep in the bedroom or your cat sleep in the bedroom, and the cat is jumping up and down on top of you at all hours of the night, that may be affecting your sleep, okay? So again, those external factors, sleep apnea, something that I think a lot of research is being done into recently. A lot of people suffer from it. And, you know, it's just realizing that we are sleeping right and that everything is going correctly. Maintaining healthy habits, of course, like reducing phone time before you go to bed. And, you know, your body will respond better to the natural circumstances that come with the circadian rhythm. So REM sleep and non-REM sleep stages. Okay, so most people are aware there's two different types of sleep stages, but again, it's understanding which one you are in, or which one you want to be in, or which one you want to spend more time in. Okay, so however, what many don't know is that non-REM sleep actually has 4 different stages that you pass in and out through the night, every night as you sleep. Now, how much time do you spend in each of these stages and how much time you are awake from can have a big impact on how you rest, how rested you feel, and how much energy you have throughout the day. All right. So again, you know, you might wake, you might feel that I sleep, I do well on 6 hours of sleep. Maybe you do. Maybe you always feel that you are tired. And then that's another reason why you need to take appropriate action, and, you know, understanding that the importance of sleep is vital to everything that we will do, like to recover, to how we feel throughout the day, to our eating choices. Okay, it'll all come into play. So stage 1 of non-REM sleep, we have 4 stages. Now, if you have a Fitbit or a Garmin like I do, you have your Oura rings, you've all these kind of things to track sleep. But the truth is, if you just did the basic and simple things right, you will start to improve your sleep. You don't need a gadget to tell you that you aren't getting enough sleep or that you are feeling tired. So before you go out and decide to buy all those, focus on what it is you can actually control, all right? Stage 1 of non-REM sleep. When you first fall asleep, you enter stage 1 of non-REM sleep. This is like the twilight stage of sleep, where you are probably still awake and some things are still going on around you. So again, there's still a bit of noise around the house. You're just trying to get to sleep. Maybe you live with other people. Maybe you live by yourself, which would be great as well. But again, you know, things like that, people coming in and out of the house could be waking you if you're in stage 1 and, you know, you are struggling to get to sleep. This is a light sleep stage of sleep, and you can usually be woken up, like I said, by noises or disturbances. If you do have trackers, they do tell you, you know, when you're in some deep sleep and when you're in some light sleep, but these are actually the stages, but it's understanding which stage is light. So stage 1 is light, and then we'll go into the other ones in just a moment. Stage 2 of non-REM sleep. This is the stage where you are actually fully asleep and not aware of your surroundings. During stage 2 sleep, the heart rate and breathing regulate, the body temperature goes down, and eye movements either slow down or stop completely. And this is when you're in a deeper sense of sleep, okay? then we're rolling into stage number 3. So stage 3 of non-REM sleep. Brainwaves slow down in stage 3 with only a few bursts of activity. This is a deep sleep where muscles relax, breathing slows down even more. The stage of sleep is difficult to awaken from, and you feel disoriented if an alarm or disturbance pulls you out of it. So this is, in the sleep cycle, like I said, is like your 90 minutes. You're getting 90 minutes of a cycle each time. And what you don't want to, or what you may experience if you've ever gone for like an afternoon nap or whatever the case may be, then you actually, if you wake up after like 35, 40 minutes, you just feel like shit, or maybe it's even 50 minutes or 60 minutes, you might have actually woken up in stage 3 where you really shouldn't be waking up in. And that's why even you might get like 6 full sleep cycles, and you could be in your 7th one and you're in like hour number 7 or 8 of your sleep. And next thing you wake up in this cycle, it's one where you are fully asleep and something wakes you up when you're in there, which, isn't ideal. All right. So that is sleep stage number 3. And then stage number 4 of non-REM sleep is an even deeper sleep where the brain waves further slow down, and it's very difficult to awaken from. So, you've ever tried to wake up someone, you're shaking them, no budge. They might actually be in stage 4. It's believed that, again, tissue repair occurs during this stage of sleep, and that hormones are released to help with growth. So again, as you might be aware that if you're into a lot of fitness, which you probably are if you're watching this, is that when we sleep, we repair. So you go to the gym, you lifting weights, you go for a run, you're running longer and further than you did last week. Then when you sleep, you recover. Okay. That's the importance of sleeping. For me, number 1 is recovery. And then obviously how I feel, if you are studying, if you're in college or university and you are studying, this is when we need to be sleeping so that we can actually repair the cells and repair the brain so that it remembers and that we have energy to go again the next day. So that is your 4 stages of sleep, okay, for your non-REM sleep, that is. Now, for our stage number 5, which is REM sleep, which you might have heard of this before, which is rapid eye movement. Okay, REM, rapid eye movement. It's the final stage of sleep. This is where the final stage of sleep is REM, and this is a cycle where we are dreaming. Okay, so again, this is where all our dreams are occurring. The eyes move rapidly behind the lids. The breathing becomes shallow, and blood pressure and heart rate also increase during REM sleep. Okay. Your arms and legs are paralyzed so that you can't actually act out your dreams. So, if you've ever had some crazy dreams, I'm definitely guilty of having some mad dreams. And, you're flying, you're doing whatever, you're running, you're jumping off a cliff, you're jumping off something, that's why your body goes into this stage 5 so that you don't actually do anything and get up out of the bed and jump off it or do anything crazy. So the purpose of this stage and of the dreams is thought to stimulate the sections of the brain that are needed for memory and learning, okay? Memory and learning, and a way for your brain to store and sort information, basically. So that's like when I'm saying that you're studying, and I'm just going to quote something here, is like, you might think you're studying, you might think that studying throughout the night is a good idea, but you're probably not going to store any of that information for your exam for the next day and probably perform even worse. All right. So again, important stage. We want to spend plenty of time in it when we can. Obviously, there's no way of controlling it, but by implementing some of the tips that I'm going to go through in a moment are ways to make your environment more comfortable for you to actually sleep and improve your quality of sleep. Same goes for the sleep hygiene that we said at the start. Even if you implemented a couple of simple strategies like that, removing the phone, blocking out any light, the external light that's coming into the house. Some of those things, just taking one step will improve your sleep quality. So next up, we're still on to stage 5. REM sleep, like I actually explained a while ago, it occurs in approximately 90 minutes, or it occurs approximately 90 minutes into your sleep cycle. The length of each cycle changes throughout the night, but typically sleepers will cycle through the stages several times before waking. So again, you might go through stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and then into REM sleep, 1, 2, 3, 4, REM sleep again. And the more REM sleep you can get in each of those cycles, then the better off you will be the next day, okay? For those with sleep disorders such as destructive sleep apnea, the deeper levels of sleep may not be reached as frequently as is normal because they are constantly being woken. So again, like I said, if you're a heavy snorer, you do a lot of twisting and turning in the bed and you start to wake up, you could be waking yourself up during these sleep cycles, REM sleep especially. So again, and that's where, like, if you're sleeping with a partner and they're constantly twisting and turning, they mightn't wake themselves up, but they might be waking you up. So you have to be aware of that as well. Get another bed, I tell you that. No, but again, it's just something that needs work on. And you'll see now when you go into the pharmacies, it's probably the first thing you see in the pharmacies here now is the actual sleep apnea tests, where, you put the mask on, you can go for a sleep study if it really is affecting you. But I believe that most people will, I've never done a sleep test, but I'd love to do one, because I believe that, obviously to educate people even further would be, what are the process of it. But you can see they put on the mask over the face, it blocks the nose in some way, and it helps them breathe properly so that they are not waking themselves up in that REM sleep stage, okay? This can lead to the body's inability to repair damage, again, like muscle, like brain function, everything else for the next day. You can have fewer dreams and increased fatigue upon waking throughout the day. If you have sleep apnea, or if you believe sleep apnea could be the culprit, then again, go see your doctor, get tested. I've seen with people before, say if you sleep in someone's house and you hear someone snoring and it's like shaking the house, trust me, I've seen it before. I'm like, there's something wrong there, and they have no idea. So, becoming aware that if you think someone is struggling with their sleep, for me, definitely years ago was something that I had a massive issue with, because I just didn't focus on it and I didn't know how important it was. I even remember when I was an electrician before, I used to have to drive from mine site to mine site, and you could be driving for about 2 hours. And one day I told him, I was like, I actually can't drive this thing. Like, I cannot drive the vehicle after lunchtime. I used to actually be falling asleep. Now, I used to be falling asleep from hard work. I used to be falling asleep because I wasn't getting enough sleep the night before. Okay. And again, I was not aware of it. It's only the last couple of years really that, understanding the importance of sleep and why we sleep. Now, last bit on the educational side is the relationship between cortisol and melatonin. Now, these are two hormones. They work against each other. And of course, I think a lot of you might be aware of cortisol. It is our stress hormone. And then melatonin is our hormone that, again, regulates our sleep. So how does cortisol affect melatonin? Cortisol is also known as our stress hormone. It wakes us up. It wakes up when we need to be woken up, and it should be at its peak in the morning. So again, we sleep throughout the night, we're kept asleep. Then as the sun starts to rise, then cortisol in the body should start to rise, because our circadian rhythm would be aware of when it is we're actually about to wake up. So cortisol will rise, but obviously what we don't want is cortisol being high throughout the day. So that comes with stress management and so forth, but we'll stick with the sleep for today. And then, it's at its peak in the morning. Melatonin and cortisol are in a love-hate relationship. When one is up, one is down. So when melatonin is high, cortisol should be low, and vice versa. When either of these gets out of balance, our ability to sleep is affected. So this is probably, you might realize that if you've had a stressful day at work and you are going to bed and you're stressed out of your head, you've had a bad day and you've done nothing to try and actually try to manage that, then cortisol will stay high, and you will struggle to get to sleep. Okay, so again, that is cortisol at its finest. Again, obviously, cortisol comes into play when we actually need it. It's not the worst hormone in the world. There's a reason for it, but again, it's all about balancing these hormones. Okay, now with that, I am going to go through some sleep tips, 10 sleep tips for you that you can implement. Again, choose one or two of them, whichever one you find useful, use it. And again, rewatch this, understand it a lot better. And, you're going to be in a better position to understand why it is you should be getting those 7 to 9 hours, or at least making the effort to get that much sleep if you can. So 10 tips to improve your sleep. Topics covered here, guys, are going to be routine and schedule, the electronics, which we kind of tipped on. Blue light is something obviously that electronics actually give out or into your eyes. Melatonin, which we kind of spoke about, exercise, vitamin D, the importance of vitamin D, caffeine, and again, what caffeine can do to us, when we should drink it, when we should limit it, your environment, which is your bedroom, etc., sleep, sex is mentioned. Again, bedroom should only be for sleeping and for sex, your sleep struggles, napping, and then stress at the very end. Okay. So number one, keeping a consistent sleep schedule. Try go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. Again, not just 5 days out of the week, on weekends as well. So when you do that over the weekend, you are setting yourself up so that you can have a successful week moving forward. Even on weekends, again, it reinforces your body sleep cycle, and which is your internal clock, which we spoke about. You don't want to be going, if you're up at 8, if you're going to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and you're back to bed, or you're 8 o'clock in the morning and you're in bed at 10 o'clock at night. And then on the weekend, when it comes to the weekend, you're getting up at 11 o'clock in the morning and you're going to bed at 1 o'clock at night. Your brain is going to be completely out of whack, and it's not going to serve you well. And it's the same, like obviously when we drink alcohol, you are not getting a proper night's sleep when you drink alcohol. So obviously, which it can be, it's going to be difficult to fall asleep and wake up every day at the same time if you are constantly juggling with that body clock. Okay. Sticking to a consistent schedule may also help reduce daytime sleepiness. And again, make sure that the bedroom you choose allows you to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. Okay. That is number one. Number two, creating a relaxing bedtime routine. So bedtime routine, and stick with it. A relaxing bedtime routine helps you unwind so you are ready to go to sleep. Keeping a consistent routine helps your body recognize that it's bedtime. When you start the routine, okay, this may help you fall asleep more quickly, okay? The best time to start your routine is about 30 to 60 minutes before you go to bed. So think about it. What is it that you can do that, okay, I'm going to be going to bed at 10 o'clock. Okay, let's start to unwind. Your routine can include whatever makes you feel more relaxed, unless it involves a device that emits blue light. Okay, and blue light is something that a lot of people, don't know a lot about. Any of those lights that you will see if you go late night shopping, big bright lights, they are designed to keep you awake and keep your brain active while you're actually in the shop. I had the blue light blocking glasses there somewhere. I don't make too much use of them, but they are there. Reading, meditating, journaling, little stretch, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and a cold shower can be very beneficial as well in a routine. And again, avoid anything stressful or overstimulating, like emotional conversations or working. Working on the laptop can be something that I'm very guilty of. So again, for you, maybe you're calling clients or you're working or you're preparing for tomorrow. Well, then try and leave that a little bit later on, or try and cut that back and tell yourself, okay, I'm going to stop working at 7 o'clock. That's my cutoff time, and move on from there. Number 3, turning off all electronic devices before you go to sleep. Electronic devices like your phone, laptop, iPad, they emit blue light. Okay, again, that blue light that we spoke about, which can reduce melatonin levels in the body. So when your body receives the blue light, like we spoke about, melatonin wants to increase so that it can put us to sleep, but the blue light is going to stop that coming back in. So again, put the phone away, put the laptop away, let the body relax. Okay, let melatonin do its thing, let cortisol come back down. Again, you're watching the news, cortisol through the roof, melatonin, like we had that balance earlier on. Melatonin is a chemical that controls your sleep and wake cycle. When your melatonin levels dip, it can be more difficult to fall asleep. Devices that emit blue light limit melatonin release. This may make it harder to fall asleep. Use purple lamps. This is a good one from my friend Phil Anthony. Using a purple lamp or red light, because it doesn't emit blue light. Okay, that again, or even if you have a bedside locker, make sure that maybe it's covered, that the light isn't emitting straight out into, yes, it might be a bedside locker light, but again, it's emitting blue light. We want to limit that. Okay, having artificial lights, purple lights, as Phil Anthony said. Okay, and it makes it a little bit easier to go to sleep. You might think that not looking at your phone close to bedtime is enough, but keeping your phone near your bed can disrupt your sleep also, even if you're not aware of it. So notifications going off at nighttime Some people still leave their phones on all night. Please, if you do have your phone, turn it off, put it outside, buy an alarm clock for $10 and, you know, plug it in and have it going off at the same time every single morning. If it's such thing, you're having a little sleep and on the weekend, an extra hour, extra 90 minutes, unplug it, you know, but don't stay in bed 5 hours later. You know, if you feel like that you need to sleep that longer after on the weekend, you're obviously not getting enough sleep throughout the week. Okay. Like I said, get an alarm clock, $10, €10. It's well worth the investment. Exercise and exercising regularly, as little as 30 minutes of aerobic exercise, walking, light jogging, getting outside, lifting weights. Okay. Nice and gently. Aerobic, not aerobic is when your heart rate stays low. Anaerobic is when you drive your heart rate through the roof, which you do not want because obviously we're trying to go to sleep. If you go outside walking, that may increase the benefits even more, obviously. So again, exposure to natural light, which is vitamin D, helps to regulate your sleep cycle. So getting enough vitamin D throughout the day. If you live in Australia, you'll be lucky. If you live in Ireland, you're going to have to fight for it. But again, even supplementing with vitamin D is very beneficial if you have not, or if you do not get enough sunlight throughout the day. But if you can't get outside, don't worry, even regular indoor exercise may help your sleep better. But again, obviously we always try to get you outside, even if it's just for 20 minutes a day, getting outside, getting a walk in. It's good for your mental health as well as your physical health. Okay. I would avoid exercising within an hour or two before bed. This can increase your energy levels and body temperature. So again, if you are going to the gym, try and give it an hour, at least an hour. Don't be, definitely probably even 2 hours training. So if you go to the gym at 6 and you're finished for 7 and you're telling yourself you're going to be going to bed at 10, you definitely wouldn't want to be going to bed at 8. Again, your core temperature will be higher, and obviously adrenaline and everything else can be pumped up, and cortisol could be high as well. So we need to bring all those back down. Okay. Caffeine, limit your caffeine intake. Okay, so how many of you actually know how many cups of coffee you drink per day? Okay, limiting caffeine as well as alcohol, you know, what they will do is they will affect your sleep cycles. Now, my advice around caffeine, and everyone, like, I love coffee, but the effects of caffeine can last from 3 to 8 hours, okay, after you consume it. This means your afternoon cup of coffee may keep you awake and alert longer than you like. Okay, so again, getting it in, maybe I try to cut it off at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's when I have my last cup. I'll try to limit it to 2 cups per day if I do have it. And again, yeah, just manage it. Although it's usually best to limit your caffeine intake to morning hours. Keep in mind that everyone has a different tolerance to caffeine. I don't think it affects me too much, but I'm not going to try and test it by having a cup of coffee before I go to bed or anything like that. There's plenty of water that you could be drinking. Get the water into you. Obviously, don't be drinking water too close to bedtime, or you'll be getting up going to the toilet too much, right? I set 2 p.m. as my cutoff time. You set your own time, work on it, see what suits you. Try not to drink more than 2 cups per day, okay? The less caffeine you consume, the more sensitive you may be to its effects. So if you don't drink it regularly, next thing all of a sudden you're offered a cup of coffee at 6 o'clock in the evening and you don't usually drink it, then you could be high as a kite for the rest of the night, okay? Making your sleep environment work from you, number 6. So this is very important. Your environment is your bedroom, okay? Your bedroom, there should be nothing else in it, no loud noises, no stuff scattered everywhere. Have a nice tidy bedroom going to bed, so that like we said with the sleep hygiene at the start, you dress your bed in the morning so that when you come back in at night, the bed is dressed and you're looking forward to getting into it, okay? So remove any distractions and keep your room tidy. For most people, a bedroom temperature of 60 degrees and 67 degrees are Fahrenheit, or 15.6 to 19 degrees is optimal temperature for sleeping. You don't want to have it too hot and you don't want to have it too cold. So have a play around with those. Obviously, if you have aircon in your room, have a play with it and see what works for you. It's also important to make sure that you have a comfortable mattress, pillows, and bed linen. Good one again from Phil is breathable bamboo fiber. Interesting. I don't have a set of it, but if you are someone that is looking to take it to the next level, then the bamboo fiber bed sheets are highly recommended. The more comfortable you are, the easier it will be to fall asleep and stay asleep. If you're a light sleeper or have noisy neighbors, yes, we haven't spoken about the noisy neighbors just yet. A good pair of maybe earplugs so you can sleep so it doesn't disturb you. Another thing, also in your bedroom gets flooded with too much light. So maybe you, like, you're a shift worker and you have to sleep throughout the day, then maybe an eye mask might be in play. I actually won't go into the fact of if you're a shift worker, because that's a whole new world. Okay, you may want to consider using blackout curtains if you are sleeping by day, and like I said, like an eye mask can also be beneficial for your sleeping environment. So having these little tools to help you sleep better are vitally important. Number 7, we're nearly there. Use your bed for only sleep and sex. Okay, sleeping and having sex. That's what it was kind of designed to do. That's what we want to kind of minimize it to be, so that when you do use your bedroom, that's what it's for and that's what you get used to. But what you might see is when people have a comfortable bed, it is tempting to use it for reading, working on the laptop, sitting in your bed, playing with the laptop, watching movies on the TV. So if you have a TV, I remember I was younger, TV strapped to the wall, no more TV in my bedroom. But again, I could be guilty of having the laptop or having the phone, and it's trying to work on it to get those out of the room. The less noise in the room, the better. It's important to use your bed for sleep and sex only. This helps strengthen your brain's association between your bed and sleeping, making it easier for you to actually fall asleep. Reading may be one way to relax. Again, I love reading, and it's something that if the book is too good and it keeps your brain active, it might not be the best thing to do to be reading that book before you go to sleep in your bed. Okay. The book can be disrupted to your sleep and it can keep your brain alert. So again, try reading on the couch before moving to your bed instead. If you find that, the books that you are reading, maybe there's a lot of knowledge in the book and you're taking it all in, and then you can't sleep due to the fact that you've just read the book and, you continue to read it when you should have been falling asleep. Struggling getting to sleep, number 8, if you don't fall asleep within 20 minutes of actually going to bed, like how many times have you been in your bed and you're twisting and turning and you realize I can't actually go to sleep? Well, then best thing to do is get up, get out of the bed and, go downstairs, have a drink of water, sit down for a while. Maybe you do read your book when you're downstairs or in another part of the house, so that your brain can kind of wire itself up to be like, okay, I need to go to bed now. Not being able to fall asleep may cause you to become frustrated, which can again keep you awake longer. Once you get out of the bed, do something to help you unwind, like reading, journaling, meditation. On the couch, again, I love to journal before I go to bed. Just writing down a couple of things before we actually get to sleep will help massively with how you prepare the body before you actually go to bed. Okay, but again, whatever works for you. Again, afternoon naps. Number 9, napping during the day can make it harder to fall asleep. Can make it hard to fall asleep later. So again, try to, like we spoke about in the circadian rhythm, keeping short naps can be between anything, like a power nap can be between 10 and 20 minutes. Again, if you're getting a full cycle of 90 minutes, that would be great if you could. But again, what we don't want to do is wake up maybe after about 50 or 60 minutes in like stage 3, and you wake up feeling worse than you actually did before you went to bed. Okay. So again, if you do need to nap, keep it short and sweet, 30 minutes or less. Avoid napping later in the afternoon. So if you are going to bed at 8 o'clock and you're like, feck it, I'm going to try and get to sleep at about 4, try as hard as you can to actually leave it off to a little bit later. And again, be mindful, if you're napping too much, it may affect your regular sleep pattern. So you just got to be aware of it. Again, for me, I found I got into the habit of, before I would work in the morning, teach classes 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Then I'm going back later on, and next thing I fall asleep in the afternoon. And like, if I kind of worked in the routine a bit more and got to bed earlier, then there probably wouldn't be any need for napping, but it definitely has its place. If you feel tired while driving, again, pull over, rest, and continue the journey safely. Why I have that written there is because, like I said earlier on, years ago when I was doing mining work, I would have to drive from A to B to C. It would take 2 hours, 3 hours, and I would fall asleep driving the car. That's the God's honest truth. And I would pull in, and eventually it came a stage where I had to tell him, no more, I can't actually be driving this. But I didn't know, I was probably clueless at the time that sleep was that important to keep me awake all the time, while I actually was at work. So again, be careful of it. And again, more accidents are actually caused from car crashes while people are falling asleep than anything. So be very, very aware of that. Then last but not least, managing stress before you go to bed. Thinking about things you're worried about can keep you awake at night to prevent you worrying and to help prevent your worries and keeping you awake. So that's why writing it down, having a sheet of paper, just write down what it is you got to do tomorrow. What is it that's bothering you? Get it out of your head so that you can go to sleep and, you know, it's out of your head. That's the main thing here. If you have a to-do list, if it stresses you out, write it down again, everything that you need to do, prioritize it so that when you wake up, it's there, it's out, knock them off 1, 2, and 3. And again, maybe if it's meditation, you're into meditating before bed can help calm your mind and put you to sleep even quicker. So that is my little sleep. Let me just pull this off. Again, if you have any questions, fire away. Feel free to send me a message. That is perfectly fine. Thank you. Good.